Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Hey.
I told you I'm scared. I think I told you this. I'm scared because when I go into the store and I see the stores are already fucking wiped out of things, which means that there's people just buying shit to buy shit and not because they actually need it. That's what makes me scared. Is that people's empathy is really showing. Like instead of being like, oh yeah, I only need one pack of toilet paper, they're like, fuck that, I'm buying it all.
Well,
It's like,
yeah,
well,
that is what's going on right now.
that's the only thing that scares me.
It's famine mentality.
You know, that's what everybody's been saying though. They're like, you do realize it's a virus, not a natural disaster, right?
Right.
Not a fucking hurricane.
Oh, I started recording, by the way. So, everybody, welcome to Knights of the Pageless Library. Normally, we review audiobooks, but today, me and Ryan are just doing what we call a roundtable, where we just talk about anything that we want to talk about. And as you probably heard, we're talking about the coronavirus right now.
Yeah, I'd like
You
to.
could have guessed.
I'd like to roundhouse some people in the face over this. No, seriously though. I don't even. I mean, if we can at all avoid it, I'd like to not talk about it because obviously it's all that's on everybody's freaking mind, and it's
Right.
just it's such an easy topic to exploit, and I don't want to necessarily, exploit it. I just, for anybody who does listen, I mean, I just have one message, and that's, be careful, be safe, and don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I think that's just good life advice.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad of advice.
No.
Um, it's just, I mean, okay, I'll talk about it a little bit, but people are making me mad because it's like they're like, oh, I don't need to quarantine. I'm healthy and I'm not part of the demographic that's highly affected. It's like, well, that's not the point. That's fine then. If you get sick, that's fine. Nobody cares. However, the point of the quarantining and like self quarantining and distancing is not to not get you sick, Mr. I think I'm healthy person. The point is for you to not get other people who are,
Yeah.
who it's going to affect. It's the point is for you to not get them sick, you selfish asshole. Like why don't
Yeah.
I don't understand why people don't get that. Like that's the point of the quarantine. I mean, I don't love it. I don't love the fact that they're recommending quarantine for people because I do think some of it's kind of weird. Like, and I'm kind of buying into a lot of the conspiracy stuff. Um, but at the same time, I don't want to be that asshole that if I get sick, I get a bunch of other people sick too because I thought I was too good to quarantine myself.
Right. Well, and I don't know, I saw something today too that was like it's like 27% of all people who've been tested for coronavirus didn't show any signs that they actually had it. And
Right.
so like you could be giving it to people and you have no idea.
Exactly. And the whole point is to slow it down because otherwise we're going to end up just like Italy where it skyrockets all at the same time and we don't have enough medical staff and medical capabilities to take care of it. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit. I want to talk about like Resident Evil for a minute, just because like how much fun I've been having playing it.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how good it looks.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
Yeah.
like it just holds up amazingly well. We're talking about Resident Evil 5 for anybody curious.
Yeah, for a game that came out in what, 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in 2020 still looks great. I mean, I only paid $5 for it too,
I
so
know.
that's
Same.
saying a lot. That I mean, I'm having a lot of fun playing it for $5.
And I guess I kind of forgot. Like, just I don't know. Like, it just holds up amazingly well. Like, if it were to come out today, like as its own thing, I think it would actually still be pretty good.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think there's too many complaints I would have, especially like graphically and stuff. Um,
I
that
mean,
I've
we
like.
obviously haven't finished it yet, so you haven't really like formed a full opinion. But
Right.
we've only played like about a third of it.
But I mean, overall, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it.
And I don't know, because I was playing a little bit of Dead Space today. It's like whatever happened to like those like third person, like kind of a little bit of horror but more like action game. Like whatever happened to those?
Fortnite.
Yeah. That's fair. I
don't-
guess it's like this whole battle royale craze, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't really know the answer to that. Well, I do sort of know the answer to that, and the answer I think is that those games, like Resident Evil, has done good being like a third person over the shoulder. And I wouldn't even call Resident Evil 5 so much a horror game anymore.
It's not.
It's more of an action game. But I would say like Dead Space is much more, because it is a horror game, it's probably much more effective to be played by yourself. And
Right.
I feel like a lot more games are trying to shy away from a good single player experience, and that's where the Fortnite thing comes in. They're looking for only multiplayer, not really any story, not really any background stuff, just only multiplayer.
But like there's not even any co-op games anymore. Like I know we struggle to find games to play together. Like
Well, it's almost impossible.
there isn't really like any like co-op games at all. I mean like because I don't really consider like online multiplayer like like Call of Duty or even like Dota. Like that's not really cooperative. It's not like a well, not like two people going through one thing that was like specifically designed for two people, which is I think one of Resident Evil 5's really strengths is that there's a lot of like needing to help the other person, like especially that part like we just played with the light. Like I thought that was
Oh, yeah.
really well done.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talked about like, and I can't speak for very many of the Gears of War games, but those excelled in that too, where it's just two of you, and there was a lot of parts where you split up and you had to cover each other and stuff like that. I mean, that Army of Two, another good example.
Right, but they don't make anything like that anymore.
I don't really think they do. I mean, like, what was like the last good one? Portal 2 or something? Like-
Yeah, I guess like the last
I was
like
gonna say,
true co-op game.
right. I was gonna say in a very roundabout way because it's not. It's more of a puzzle game, even the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta think about it for a second. Like, I mean, like even Borderlands, but Borderlands doesn't do anything interesting with the fact that there are more than one of you.
Right. It's you. It doesn't matter if there's another person or you're by yourself. It's
It just
the same.
scales the difficulty, so it's basically the same thing.
Right.
And I know, like, yeah, you're with your friends, but
Well, same too, because even like, we talked about doing like a run through Divinity Original Sin, and same thing though. It's pretty much the same experience whether you're by yourself or you're with a friend. Because
right, and especially a game like that where you could pause, like it just doesn't. I don't know. It kind of like eliminates the co-op element because it seems like especially when I was playing with you, it's like I don't really know what to do, so I'm just like defaulting to what you think I should do.
right.
And so like I really don't have a lot of input in a game like that. Because like in Resident Evil, like you have to be self-sufficient. Like I can't even like there are moments like when you can't see and like I turn around. I'm like, okay, hopefully Ryan makes it out of this because there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, or you have to just be like behind you.
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
that's your best. I mean, that's as good as you can do because
Yeah. I don't know. I've really been like every time I sit down I want to play something I want to play something along those lines, and there isn't a lot of options
no,
anymore.
no, and like even Grim Dawn, playing through Grim Dawn, which is a fun game, but let's be real, it would be the same experience with or without another person.
Right, and it really would be.
Yeah, you don't need another person for it to be more enjoyable.
Because it's a single player experience. They just let another person come in instead of like a co-op experience the whole way through. Because you can't play
Exactly.
Resident Evil 5 I mean, you do play by yourself, but Shev is still controlled.
Right. But it's more, that's exactly it though, is yes, Sheva is AI controlled, but it's much more fun to have somebody who actually knows what they're doing and is really contributing playing that person.
Right. It's like I mean, I've never actually played the game by myself, but I've just heard that it's like almost unplayable by yourself because the AI is so bad.
I'd believe it.
And I don't even really know how you would make a good like AI like that, like a good like actual partner.
Well, especially
know.
because there are parts where you have to like one person kind of has to cover the other one, or one character throws another character to an inaccessible spot. So yeah, like how I don't know how they would even accomplish that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It would be interesting to try it by myself and see how it is. Because I've been having a lot of fun and I've been like thinking about it all the time. And for it being such an old game, it's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And it did kind of want to lead me into talk. I wanted to talk a little bit about Capcom, just because it seems like I know they've made some bad games, but like most of the stuff they make is pretty good.
I would agree with that. I mean, at least as far as like anything I've played, I can't even think of a bad Capcom game off the top of my head. Can you?
Oh, I mean they have some spin-offs of Resident Evil that are really bad, but they weren't actually developed in-house. I mean they were just like the publisher.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean there's one like called like Operation Raccoon City, which is it's like a third person kind of like Resident Evil 5 is, but it's like a multiplayer only game.
Oh,
Supposedly it's terrible.
interesting.
Yeah. I don't
See, and
yeah.
I was never really a fan of Resident Evil back in the day, like Resident Evil 1 or 2. Um, I was never a fan of them almost until it was Resident Evil 4 that came out on the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when that came out, I remember Logan bought that and I watched him play it and I was like, this game is amazing. This is so
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I've played that game many, many, many times. It's one of my top 10 games for sure.
Yeah. That game's pretty awesome. I like that one.
And I mean, 5 is just kind of like a continuation of like the silliness of 4,
Sure.
because 4's got some fucking silly shit in it.
Right.
Like I don't know if you remember, but like in the beginning when they like call all the zombies away from you, and Leon's like, "Where's everybody going? Bingo?" It's like, what? What are you you fucking goon?
That's oh man. Yeah, just like ham-fisted
Yeah.
humor.
It's,
Like
I don't know, and it's interesting because I was actually like listening to a podcast about Resident Evil 5 recently, and they were like, especially with 4, they were kind of trying to tailor more towards like American audiences with those, which I thought was really interesting. And it was kind of like Capcom's take on what they thought Americans would like. And I mean, they were right. They ended up making a lot of money,
so
but it's just kind of funny how it's like even in 5, like you like shoot explosive barrels and they like blow up huge and it's ridiculous, and it's just I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
what you're saying is they watched all the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah,
And they
pretty
were like,
much.
aha, this is what Americans like.
This is America. Yeah, pretty much.
Which is not far off.
No, they're pretty close. They pretty much nailed it. And it'd be interesting because I've never played Resident Evil 6 either, but supposedly that one's like more actiony. It's kind of divisive in this series. Like some people don't like it, but some people do like it. I've never played it.
I was gonna say that's interesting to me because they are trending more towards more action, like we talked about. Whereas the first few were like solely kind of survival horror. The newer ones are heavily, action for sure.
But I mean, they are doing this when they're remaking these old ones, like what they did with 2, where they're actually like making up horror games again. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is.
And I guess they're giving the fans like what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've played the second one, and I never played the original, which I guess I don't know how much stock you put in that, but I like the remake. The remake's really good and it's really scary.
Right.
But it's a totally different feel. Oh,
Interesting.
it is super interesting.
What's some other topics you want to cover in this roundtable? I know one I want to cover.
Oh, what is it?
What have you been doing to stay in shape during your quarantine?
I've just been doing like yoga in my room in the mornings because I don't want to go to the gym.
Etiquette. Can you even go to your gym? Is your gym closed?
Honestly, I haven't checked because I guarantee you it is. I think almost
My
all
gym,
fitness centers are closed.
My gyms are closed at home and
Yeah.
around here. I've been doing the same thing though. I've just been doing yoga in the morning. Sometimes I do it both in the morning and the evening. try to do like 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I usually do about 30.
And yeah, it's actually been great.
Yeah, I like yoga. I mean, I don't know. I like going to the gym though. There's just something about like going to a place that like you have to work hard.
Well, and for sure, I've definitely gotten into a funk before where I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do, stuff from home, especially when I was well, I still am traveling a lot, but like while I travel, a lot of the times it's hard to find gyms where I'm at. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do stuff here. And it's always harder to get into that, workout mode, hyped up feeling in your hotel room. Like,
Yeah, it is.
so I know what you mean too. I do like going to the gym. Even if I just go to the gym to do yoga, I mean, it helps me stay focused for sure.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't like goofing off. I don't like being on my phone. I don't like
Uh-huh.
doing all the gym faux pas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know. I'm kind of mad. My little Anytime Fitness thing broke today.
Oh no, your little key fob thing?
Yeah, busted off my keys.
Oh, so the little loop in it broke?
Yeah.
Oh, you just got to get a clip and do it like I had
Yeah.
mine. Mine broke
I
a
know.
long time ago.
I know. Dude, it's snowing here. It's crazy. It was
Yeah, dude,
70 degrees yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. This is some weird shit going on, man, because here, like in the morning, this morning, all frosty. 2 days ago, it was snowing here. I'm in Idaho. And during the day, though, yeah, like hot, almost 60 degrees.
Yeah, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's a conspiracy, man. I'm telling you.
It is a conspiracy. The freaking simulation is broken.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Literally, the simulation got a virus.
I'm sure
know
you've
what?
seen the meme. It's like the lizard guy, and it's like, we're resetting the simulation to 2015. We just wanted to see what you guys would do.
That's awesome.
But what were you gonna say? Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, I don't remember. I just think, like, I'm a lot of the conspiracy stuff that I am hearing about, like what's going on, I only half disagree with. You know what I mean? Like, some of it lines up a little too well for me to just be like, oh yeah, this is just, totally normal thing that just happened.
Yeah, it is. We just live in some strange times.
Yeah.
Some very, very. And I think it's funny that, like, what was it like is it like 1920 and 1820? There was both like big outbreaks of a disease.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's been big outbreaks of diseases. I mean, it has happened.
I know, but it was like on the 20s. Like it's like been lined up. I swear.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
It's crazy.
A big part of me too is like obviously I don't think that this is fake or anything, but it is very weird because I mean, not all that long ago we had like swine flu and bird flu and these other things that it almost felt like they were trying to push it to this point, and it never broke. But for some reason, this one has broke and it's just gone worldwide. No pun intended. It's gone viral. And it's just insane though, like the way that people are reacting,
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of like the Y2K thing. Like when
see, I don't even remember that.
Right. I do remember that. But that's kind of what, and I didn't see it in full because I was still really young too. So I didn't see a lot of it. But I bet like if you asked our parents, similar things. You probably go in a grocery store, shelves on the stores just wiped out, because people just thought it was the end. So,
but it's so interesting to me. Like a little bit of panic immediately makes like nobody cares about anybody but themselves. Like
exactly.
Instantly, it's like boom.
Yep.
Like, oh well, I need 5,000 rolls of toilet paper for my ass. I don't give a shit if you have one.
Yeah, and actually, what's even more disgusting is the amount of people who, like, at the first sign of something going wrong, they went out and stocked up, and now they're trying to turn around and sell this shit back for like 10 times what they paid for it.
Yeah.
That's even more fucking disgusting, and I hope those people rot in hell because they are the assholes that I said for nobody to be.
Well, did you hear about the guy with the hand sanitizer that was trying to sell some? Like he spent like freaking 45 grand on hand sanitizer.
Oh
He's
my
trying to sell
god.
it, yeah.
Oh
And
god.
he can't sell it. Which I don't think you should be able to resell things like that. It's kind of disgusting.
Well, I do appreciate the fact that like Amazon, because there was a ton of people, I guess, when this started ramping up, they were trying to price gouge real bad. Like, oh, you want disinfectant cleaner? Yeah, you can have it for $40 for a tub, that's normally $6. And Amazon was like, nope, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. They're like deleting all these accounts because they're saying what you're doing is literally criminal.
It is criminal.
So, god damn it, we came back around to that coronavirus. I didn't want
I
to
don't
do
know
it.
how we can not talk about it, to be honest with you.
I know. I know. That's why I said it's all that's on anybody's mind right now. It's insane.
You know what I've actually been watching? Let's talk about. I know this actually has a little bit to do with it. I've been watching this document. Not It's like kind of a documentary about, but it's actually a show about like F1 racers.
Okay.
Super duper interesting just to see all like the politics and stuff, and like the last episode we watched was like about McLaren, and they were really good for a while, but then they're like been losing, and like all of their members are just quitting because it's so stressful. Like not getting consistent like good places is like making these people lose their jobs. It's just crazy. Yeah,
Interesting.
it is. It's just super interesting. It's like, and they're like, you're like sitting in on one of the meetings, and they're like, all the mechanics are there with the driver, and they're like, they're working on the car, they're trying to make it better because the car keeps breaking, and the driver's just like super brutal. They're like, we worked on the suspension better, and he's like, no, honestly, it's worse.
Oh god.
I know, and it's just like all this like back and forth between like all the different moving pieces and stuff. It's just super interesting of all the stuff that has to go into just these dudes that race.
Right. Yeah, they're just driving cars around a track really
And there's,
fast.
and there's just so much money gets thrown at it.
Oh,
Just
I bet.
so much. I mean, it's the richest person sport there is, besides maybe like
So
croquet.
that's one thing though that's interesting, and I read this. Well, Caitlin read it to me, but it was like a post from somebody that I know from school, and they made a great point about all this. And they said, I hope this teaches everybody that we can all do without our freaking sports teams, and we can all do without a lot of that stuff, but you can't do without the farmers making your food.
No, yeah, I mean it's 100%.
So, I mean, it was a great time to drop something like that because you're talking, yeah, I realize that the farming industry is a huge industry, but that's because there's a ton of people trying to scrape out a living doing it. Whereas, like, the NBA shuts down, they're like, we're just going to shut down our games. It's like, okay, who cares? Like, do people really care? They're like, no, I really wanted to watch basketball this weekend.
Yeah.
They probably do. But if the farmers were like, hey, we're all going to shut down too, then we'd be like, wait, what? No.
You can't shut down
Yeah.
farming.
You can't. We have to eat. Like,
Well, and then that's the really interesting thing too about like my industry, like the tree care industry right now too, is because like we have like time sensitive windows to get things done, and like if we just shut down, like I don't know what that's gonna do as far as like the spread of like certain bugs and stuff like that. Because like if we don't treat them within a certain time window, that's when they're really susceptible. And then if they get the insects, other trees around them are going to get the insects, and so I don't know, it's just really interesting, like
well,
because
I'm-
I don't
and
know.
I mean, we'll see what comes of this. But like, my company is basically just doing business as usual.
Yeah, same.
And I said, well, that's fine until we're all too sick to come in because you literally have forced us to come to work and work until we are too sick to come here. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, but it's not like UP can shut down either. Like things have to get moved places.
That's true. And you're right. However, the guys I work with, which we are replacing rail. That is not part of the priority. The priority
you're right.
is the priority is moving goods.
Yeah, you guys are just maintenance,
Exactly.
kind of, right?
Yes. So we technically don't have to be there. I mean, and right off the bat, first day back this week, because between last week when I was at work and this week is when things really kind of have started to take a turn. And first day back, what do? We just flew in all these guys from all states of the country. We brought them all into one place. And what's the first thing they do? They get on a bus together.
Oh,
I was
dude,
like,
yeah, that's disgusting.
and then what are they going to do at the end of this week? They're all going to go back home to their different states. I'm like, you. And so what? We didn't do job briefing on the bus, but they have to get on the bus to go out to the machines.
Right.
So they all have to spend time really close to each other. So
Yeah,
they're not
yours is a
taking
little
any precautions.
different because like I'm by myself almost all day, and we don't meet in the morning anymore. So
Yeah,
it's
see,
like
and that's fine. Yeah, like you can keep working. Like the whole point is to just limit your exposure to other people.
right, social
So
distancing.
yeah, which this company apparently doesn't understand. Even in a video from our freaking CEO, he's talking to like our financial guy in this video, and he's like, "See, we're practicing giving ourselves, good spacing." And I was like, "You mean your normal like bubble?" Because they were still only like 4 feet apart. I was like, "That's just the distance normal people talk at." You realize
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a weird time.
It is. I'll just be curious to see what happens on the other side because it's I mean, and I watched a few videos that made good points, like shutting everything down though is also not like a great option because if people don't suffer, they're going to suffer in the end because our economy is going to suffer terribly.
Right, we're like in a recession now.
Yeah, and very soon we could be in a depression. I mean,
Right.
it's not far off. So not only will you be a recession, a depression, and you have this virus running rampant, and you just don't know when it's going to end is the problem.
Yeah, you don't. And I don't know. Cuz supposedly like dude, I know we didn't want to talk about coronavirus. This is what we're talking about, I guess.
I know. I just I don't know what else to talk about, to be honest. It's like all that's on my mind. So
Me too, it's hard to, like I mean, I know I hate to call ourselves like fucking like artists, but like at the same time it's like what you're dealing with is like what you're going to talk about.
right.
It's just like who we are as people. Oh, so in China, like supposedly it was getting better. I saw like a post that they like were closing down all the temporary hospitals, but supposedly it had like a resurgence and it's like coming back now and like more people are getting sick again.
Well, and that's exactly like what Caitlin was saying is like, okay, so we're all supposed to self quarantine for like 2 weeks or whatever. Call it. So just say that they came out like tomorrow and they said, everybody stay in your houses for 2 months. Don't go anywhere. If you don't absolutely have to, don't go anywhere. Well, what happens in 2 months when we all come out of our houses and all of a sudden it's like, what? There it is again. Like, there's nothing saying that won't happen. So
Yeah, but I don't that like I don't know, staying in your house, it's like how am I gonna fucking pay my bills and shit though?
that's another big question is like, they're shutting all these businesses down. Like they're telling restaurants they need to shut down. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be able to tell people they have to shut down if you aren't going to pay all their employees to go stay home.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And I've heard this rumor that they're going to do whatever, they're going to send all of us checks in the mail or some shit. But it's like, well, what good is a check going to do if you got nowhere to go spend it? Like, that's not how the economy works.
You're right. Yeah, if you can't spend it, don't do any good.
It's like a freaking lose, lose, lose everywhere situation.
It just makes me think of that episode of South Park. Margaritas, yay.
Yeah. Yeah, where they're trying to like the
economy's angry, dude.
It's an entity.
Freaking Randy Marsh.
That's just it though. That's exactly what they're trying to prove in that episode. They're like, you can't not spend your money and expect the economy to be good. You can't. That's not how it works. There has to be money going both directions for it to work correctly.
Yeah. I don't see this money thing they were talking about that at work today. I don't really understand how it works. Are they just going to send it to everybody? Do I like need to sign up? I don't know. Do I have to pay that money back?
My best guess, yeah, you will, because I already can picture it when you're doing your taxes in 2021. It will be like, did you receive your $1,000 stipend from the government? If you're like, Yes, they immediately deduct $1,000 from your taxes. They're like, yeah, we need that money back now. Like,
Yeah, I don't understand.
so I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I really don't.
Well, from what I'm reading, it sounds like it's gonna happen.
That's what I'm hearing too, and I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, there's no such thing as free money. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Even in a time of crisis, there's no such thing as free money.
Yeah.
It's like, how about instead of $1,000, you send us all some fucking food, so make sure we can make it if everything shuts down. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah. So this is. I'm trying to read this stuff. I don't understand. See, I don't understand how it's gonna work. And they make it sound like they've already done it, like it's already gonna happen.
I don't know. And supposedly it's like it's not like per household. It's like per adult. They're gonna send
Yeah.
$1,000 to every adult. But I watched a quick like blip of Joe Rogan's podcast that he just did with Duncan Trussell, and I need to go back and re-listen and listen to the whole thing. But in this one quick clip, Joe was like, he's like, I don't think this is a good idea because they're gonna send everybody all this money, and everybody's gonna be like, wait a minute, you could have just done this the whole time. Like, what the fuck? You've just been holding all this money.
I know.
It's always been there. You could have just given it to us. So, speaking of which, this is sort of off topic. I was listening to a podcast today about charities, like
Mhm.
big charities like the Red Cross and stuff like that, and how they are essentially just criminal organizations.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. Charities. Ugh. They kind of are, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, because this guy made a great point. He said a charity like the Red Cross should not technically exist because if you start a charity, it's to solve a problem. So the fact that you still exist means you've never solved any problems. Like,
Damn.
you know what I mean? Like, because the whole point of a charity is usually to raise a bunch of money to solve a specific problem, and then the charity should technically go away. But these guys just keep doing it over. They just
So what is the Red Cross
essentially.
even like? What's their main mission? Hang on.
That's a good question. I don't really know. That's probably, I mean,
Mission statement here.
okay, they have a mission statement. That's good.
The Red Cross, born of a desire to bring assistance without discrimination to the wounded on the battlefield, endeavors in its international and national capacity to prevent and alleviate human suffering wherever it may be found. Its purpose is to protect life and health and to ensure respect for the human well-being.
Okay. Which,
So I guess
I mean,
that's
I
kind of
guess.
vague enough to still exist, right?
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So this guy was basically saying, like, anytime there's a tragedy, which I bet if you looked it up right now, they are going to be, hey, we're looking for money donations because we're going to help people victims of the coronavirus. If they're not doing it now, guaranteed in 3 to 6 months, they will be. And essentially, though, like what this guy is pointing out, the one that really stood out to me is he brought up, I guess, in Haiti after the whole Haiti thing went down. They raised some like $500 million or something like that in like, donations. And with that, they built 6 houses.
What?
Yeah. So where'd the rest of the money go?
Do they just have a lot of overhead?
I highly doubt it. Because most people volunteer to help.
True.
They're not getting paid to go help. So, and then another one was like they raised like $50 million for some charity thing, and like on the books it only shows that they ever actually gave out 10 million of that. So, where'd the other $40 million go? Like,
Yeah, it's probably just there can't be any good in this world, can there?
I don't know, man. And I guess the whatever head of the whole organization currently, her yearly salary is like $650,000 a year.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a charity to me.
Exactly. It's like, how can you be a non-profit organization and have someone at the top making that much money? Like, that's a business. That's called a business.
It is.
So it's just terrifying though, because you're like yeah, like you said, is there any actual good anywhere?
I know, which is it
And
is. It's so sad.
and there is. I don't want to be all freaking doom and gloom. Caitlin just told me that earlier today. She said like Ryan Reynolds and his wife donated like $1 million or something like that to aid people during this crisis. So there are good people out there with money. Now, on the flip side of that coin, you also had like the Utah Jazz basketball team uh, demand that they had all their players and staff tested. So it was like 58 people they tested for coronavirus in one day, which essentially ate up like 80% of Oklahoma's entire test kits for the day.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Oh
I'm
my
serious.
god.
Right? So, unfortunately, we do have the good, like with Ryan Reynolds. You know, that's awesome. But I just feel like for every
shout out
one,
to you, Ryan Reynolds.
but I feel like for every one good deed we get, you just get a million bad in return.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, charities have always been a weird thing for me because a lot of the time, like even not necessarily speaking about like an evil charity, but like say you give them $1 and like only like 8 cents of that actually goes to the thing like what you want it to go to, and the
Right.
rest of it's just used up in overhead.
Right.
So you're
And
really not even making a difference.
well, and that's just it. I mean, that's kind of the whole like what this guy's bringing up is that you think that your money when you donate it, quote unquote, is going to something good. However, like I read something a few years back that was talking about like the Breast Cancer Association, and we might get some hate mail over this. I sure hope
Oh,
we do.
please.
At,
Come on. Yes, let's just start talking about some controversial stuff.
kotpl.pod@gmail.com if you want to discuss
Yell at
these.
us.
But it was supposedly the breast cancer, awareness or whatever organization. More money goes into making the breast cancer awareness like things, the little ribbons and T-shirts and all that stuff, than actually goes towards breast cancer research.
Yeah, I guess that actually makes sense.
Which people then pay for those things. They buy those things. So they're not like given out. Like you don't give out, breast cancer awareness T-shirts. I mean, unless it's at an event, which most likely people paid to attend. So it's a business. I mean, it is a business, and that's what's sad is that it's just people taking advantage of these situations.
Yeah, it is sad. I remember even in high school, like we would have breast cancer stuff. Like that's like what made like a huge senior project that people would always do.
Yeah. And I mean, that's fine. I don't think we shouldn't bring awareness to these things. But let's actually do something about it. Let's not, that they turned it into a business. They didn't turn it into an actual fucking charity that is making money and that is solving this problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's true. So I guess they don't really want the problem to go away, huh?
I don't think so. I think it's the same as the like the medical and the pharmaceutical industry here in America, because you don't make money off of healthy people. You make money off of sick people.
You really don't.
You know what I mean? The pharmaceutical companies don't make money off of healthy people not taking their pharmaceutical goods and not buying them.
Yeah,
you're
right.
They don't care if people get healthy or not. Have you watched The Pharmacist on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch it. It is very interesting and a very intense look into the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, it's probably gonna make me sad too.
Well, it's 4 episodes, so you'll have 4 episodes of sadness.
Oh, okay. At least I have a nice prolonged sadness.
Yeah, it drags it out nice and long for you.
That's good. That's
No,
good.
but it's really good though. I would recommend watching it because it'll really make you like. I mean, it really sheds light on what we're talking about. Like, these are not. People want to think these things are like a conspiracy. It's not though. It's real. Like, it really is happening.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Speaking of conspiracies, have you seen, and talking about documentaries, have you seen Icarus on Netflix?
No, is that the Just tell me what it is, because I think we've talked about it before, but no, I haven't.
So yeah,
seen it.
it's about like the Russian like state-sponsored doping program.
Yeah. Okay.
So interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that one. I'll add that to my queue.
I made my roommates watch it. I've watched it a couple times. It's
Yeah.
just, it's super interesting. It's like, because all these people don't want to think these athletes are on something, but like even the main testing agency, WADA, they have like the head guy there, and they're like, do you think you have the ability to catch people today? And he goes, no, they're all on something.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
And
We
I don't know.
talked about it.
I know you feel the same way I do, but like even like some of the people you see at your local gyms that are just like juiced, like jacked to the nines, and you're like, man, that guy's so ripped. I work out just as hard as him, but how is he in better shape than me? He might be on something. It's a lot
And-
more common than you think.
I was just gonna say that, yeah. And most likely, if he looks like he's juicing, he probably is.
Mhm.
Like, it's not exactly like it's even something that's hard to get a hold of anymore.
It's not.
So,
I
and
mean, like
I don't
you've had people
understand.
come up to you in the gym and tell you they are on stuff, which is crazy
Yeah.
to me.
I have, yeah.
Because
They were like,
you're yoked to the nines. I mean, you're in great shape.
yeah, right.
You are, dude. You are. Are you kidding me?
I that was the weird thing though, is this guy was like bragging about it. That he's like
I know. Yeah, it's weird.
on supplements. And he's like telling me all these like, yeah, I'm taking like, DXR4 nines and some 2732 E's. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're talking to me as if I would know what those things are. I was like, dude, I don't know anything about steroids. What are you
No,
talking
me
about?
neither. The fact of giving yourself shots, it's just like, oh, it makes me cringe.
Yeah, unless it's a life-threatening illness. That
Yeah.
never would I be like, yes, I can't wait to give myself this shot every day so I, have bigger muscles.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
crazy to me.
Dude, it's just like that Drawn Together episode, though.
Yeah, everybody's like, freaking, I was afraid of this steroid.
Steroids.
Oh, I love that episode. Drawn Together, man. That's one of the shows I miss, and I wish that its freaking movie wasn't such like a sad whimper into the night.
Oh man, it was the worst, the biggest letdown. Like,
Well, because the show is so good.
Yeah.
The show is consistently funny, and then the movie is just such a wet fart. And I feel like they turned up like the gross out humor and like the stuff that wasn't as funny in the regular show up, and like that's what they thought they were about, and they're wrong.
no, they did. Which I'd be curious to go back and like look at the writing staff and the difference between the show and the movie, because there had to have been a difference. Because exactly like you said, the gross, like obvious humor stuff was so ham-fisted and in your face in the movie, whereas like the funny stuff in the show is much more subtle.
Yeah. Oh, freaking and like they misuse freaking Captain Hero, who's like the best character in the show.
Right.
And
They
they,
almost
like-
don't use him.
No, he's like has this disgusting like corpse of a girlfriend that's funny for 5 seconds, but he
Mhm.
just drags her around the whole movie, and it's like a joke that they're literally beating the dead horse
Right.
over and over again.
Exactly. I mean, because like our favorite kind. Well, I'm speaking for you, but I'm assuming
I mean,
like-
you know my humor is super fucking dry and sassy.
right, which would be more like English type humor.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
The best part about English humor, in my opinion, is so like when you watch a movie like Shaun of the Dead or something like that, is you watch it through once, it's funny. You watch it through a second time, you notice even more things that are funny. You
Well-
watch it again, you notice even more things. Like, that's the subtle humor that they don't have to draw attention to is what I find hilarious in movies.
Me too, and like the attention to detail that they really present, like in that movie, freaking Hot Fuzz and at World's End, they're all so good.
Right.
Like, I mean, Hot Fuzz especially. Like we've seen that. I've seen that movie probably upwards of 50 times, and I still watch it and notice things.
I was gonna say I could probably watch it again though today and notice something new that I've never noticed before.
And it's not Hot Fuzz. The one thing that I love about that movie that I feel like nobody has even talks about is like in the beginning, when they're talking about when he's like asking him, he's like, you ever fired 2 guns while jumping through the air? He's like asking him all these questions, and they end up doing all those things, but they don't dwell on them at all. Like they do them like really quickly.
Right.
And
he does all
that.
of them.
He does do them all. He does literally every single one that he brings up. He does them all.
Is most likely, if you're like a normal person, you're not going to catch that on your first watch through. You're not going to realize that all those questions in the beginning are what they end up doing in the end. Like,
dude, it's one thing I noticed when I watched it, like, and you probably noticed it the first time you watched it, but I noticed it like I watched it like about a month ago. In the beginning, when they're like, should we? When he's talking to the detectives, and they're like, who should we call in the phone book? Aaron A. Aronson. When he, at the end, that's what the kid's name is.
Yeah, the kid. He's like,
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Well, and that one they almost do kind of draw attention to because he's like, "What's your name?" And the kid's like, "Aaron Aronson," and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, and I never realized that. Yeah. Like, God, that is so funny. It's like an hour later.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good. Like, I love that. Oh,
I like that kind of stuff too.
Me too. It's freaking hilarious.
Or even like the innkeeper lady when he first shows up there, and she's like, "Can I help you, fascist?"
Yeah.
And that's what's on her thing. And then at the end, when she's shooting her gun, she's like, "Fascist!"
Yeah. Hag.
Yeah. That's after he shoots her, right?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Hag.
Yeah, Hag. Oh, I love that movie.
That's what I mean, though. And like, don't get me wrong. I also like the polar opposite, which would be like, Naked Gun or Airplane. That's like just slapstick humor. Like, can we come up with the weirdest, silliest shit? Like, I like that too.
But that movie even has subtle things in it too, though.
That's what I was gonna say though. Is they do it. I don't know. That's a definite thing though. That's like a very fine line to walk with me.
Yeah, because I don't want to be beaten over the head with it, whatever it is.
Yeah, which I mean, like those kind of movies do, like Airplane and stuff, kind of does, but they do it in such a good way that it is still funny through like the whole movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of Naked Gun movies. I didn't know that. I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, man, because isn't there like 2.5 and 30, 33 and a third or whatever?
Yeah, so it makes no sense. Yeah.
Even the title is funny.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty good. Yeah,
but those like, what did he look like? I don't know. 6 foot, mustache. That's a pretty tall mustache. Like that's one of the best lines ever.
Well, I love in Spy Hard when he's like trying to save that girl and she's like over the cliff and she rips off his sleeve and his arm is just shredded. Like I love that.
But they don't dwell on it though. They only show it for like half a second and then they move away.
Like I love that because it's so silly. Oh, that's a good movie.
Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Like, dude, those are just like classic lines.
They are classic lines. They're classic for a reason. I'm trying to think of like the last funny movie I watched recently that was like good.
It like actually cracked you up. I know what it was for me.
What?
Orgasmo.
Yeah, but that's not new.
I was gonna say it wasn't new, but it was still funny.
Well, nobody even knows about Orgasmo.
No, nobody does, and I'm so glad that I found it for myself.
And me too. I remember watching it for the first time, and I was like, "Is this even real?" Like, I can't believe I've never heard of this because it's so funny.
Same here, because I've always been such a huge fan of South Park.
Me too. Yeah, Parker and Matt Stone.
Right. So to find out that they made that movie that I had never even heard of, It was just like it was literally like finding treasure for me.
It was like opening up the chest. It was like da 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 da. Oh my god!
Right.
And this has been here the whole time.
And exactly, yeah. It's just that secret wall you've been walking past the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You never
it's
knew you actually had to swing and hit it with your sword.
To the 2 listeners who are still here, if you need to do yourself a favor and somehow find a copy of Orgasmo and watch it,
Oh yeah, you won't regret it.
you
really
won't. You really, I mean, if you do regret it, then stop listening to our podcast. We don't want you here because it's good. I
But
don't care
definitely
what you say.
Email us and let us know what you
Yeah.
thought.
Email us and be like, "Oh, Orgasmo is the worst movie I've ever seen." We'll immediately block you, and we'll be good.
Yeah, and then we'll be fine, and we'll have got our
Yeah.
first piece of hate mail. So
Yeah, we've got our hate mail. It would have been perfect.
I really though I don't see how the best part about that movie is the misdirection that it takes too. Like
Yeah.
you don't know, like there was no point in that movie where I was like, oh, I can totally guess what's gonna happen. Like not once.
And I love how he says, "I'll sure as Abraham try." I love that.
Oh my
I haven't seen the one that's like I guess we started watching it, but I never finished it. Like the first movie they made, that's like a musical.
Oh, Cannibal, the musical.
Yeah, Cannibal. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
called.
so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like that one.
Really?
I started to watch that, yeah, and I wasn't into it. Mostly
It
because
is
I'm not
their-
into musicals.
It's their first movie.
Yeah, I know it is, and I should like it because it's Matt Stone and Trey Parker, but I'm just not that into musicals. Although the Book of Mormon was a musical, and that was fucking hilarious.
Well, it's a play.
Right, but I mean it was pretty much a musical because they're pretty much singing the whole time, and that was hilarious. But I did not really like, and maybe I should sit down and try and watch Cannibal the musical again because maybe I just didn't give it enough time. But from what I saw of it, right off the bat, I didn't really like it.
That's fair. I mean, you don't have to like something.
I know. It almost just feels like sacrilege though, because
You're
but
supposed to like this.
I'm trying so hard to like this and I'm just not. Speaking of which, I am going to sort of drastically change topics. And I want to broach the idea we've been kicking around. I think did we bring this up already on another roundtable of
If
us
you're talking
doing
about what I think you're talking about, no.
of us doing like a little anime kind of spin-off of our episodes?
No,
So
I
we-
don't think we have, but we can talk about
Okay.
that.
I want to bring it up a little bit. Maybe we'll actually get some feedback. I think it's going to happen no matter what the feedback is. At least in the beginning, we'll just we'll kind of play it out and see how it feels. But the idea we've been kicking around is because we love audiobooks. I mean, if that wasn't clear already, I don't know what we're doing wrong. But we also love anime because we're fucking nerds. Apparently.
Weebs.
Yeah, we're. I don't know if I go that far, but
Well, too bad.
but we so what we were thinking about doing is taking a couple of the recent like anime shows that we've both been into and do some episodes about those. We would probably call this spin-off the Anime Scribes. Since we're already knights of this pageless library, we don't want to claim to be anime experts. So
I thought we were gonna call it Squires.
Anime Squires.
Yeah, not scribes.
Oh man, I think maybe I just said it wrong. God damn, what a douchebag.
That's okay. I was trying to remember. I was like, I don't think we said scribes. Because then that gives the wrong vibe, right? Because we ain't scribing nothing. We ain't writing nothing
that's
down.
true. We don't even know how to read. So
Yeah, we can't
There's
read.
no-
So
Okay, Anime Squires. That's you know what I think it is. I don't know if it's still on my phone. I think when you texted it to me, you might have meant to say scribes, but it came across as squires.
no, I wanted to say squires.
Or I mean the opposite. That's
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
I think when you tried to text me squires, it came across as scribes because
That
that's
doesn't sound right. 'cause
I think
don't
that's why I
read
had
and
it in my head. Right. That's probably why I had it in my head.
'Cause,
Yeah,
I don't know. Squires makes more sense because it's like we're like dipping our toe in that. Because I mean, like as much as I want to pretend I'm not an anime aficionado, I watch the dubs. I don't watch the subs. Like
You're
it's
right.
just
I don't
I'm not that hard into it.
we don't look at no manga. No,
we don't,
I
because we
couldn't
can't
even.
read.
I couldn't even tell you which shows have mangas they're based on. I
I
couldn't.
think almost all of them.
I mean, because I know there's been a few people that I've brought up like anime with, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like Full Metal Alchemist, and they're like, do you watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? And at the time, I was like, no, I haven't watched that one yet. And they're like, you really should. It more closely follows the manga, and like in a very tribe tone like that.
Oh, I
I
know.
was
I
like,
hate when
oh,
people do that shit.
well,
I hate when
so
people do like anything. You're like, you have to watch this. It's like nerd classic. It's like, well, first of all, no, I don't. Second of all, like, don't
so
talk to me like that.
exactly. So the goal of these kind of spin-off episodes would be what our plan would be is we'd probably watch about 3 episodes. We'd rewatch the show to do about 3 episodes at a time and then do an episode of a podcast on the 3 episodes of the show. And all we want to do is kind of give our opinion and our feelings on the show based on like those 3 episodes. We're going to try not to spoil anything. We'll let you guys know ahead of time which episodes we're going to be doing.
Right, so you can watch along with us if you wanted to.
Right. It would be kind of like a movie club.
Yeah.
No pages involved.
Nope.
So,
because we don't care if you can't read.
Yeah, that's right. We don't discriminate if you can't read. We'll tell you about it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you're blind, we got you.
Yeah, if you're deaf, we can't help you yet. We're working on that. But
we're trying to get the Braille set up.
Braille audiobooks. That's what we'll be after. I have no idea how it's
Braille audio. That would have been a good name too. Because it makes no sense. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so if anybody's, if you guys have any feelings on that about
or
us,
recommendations for shows to do too. I think we're going to start with My Hero Academia, unless you have a different thing you want to start on.
No, I would like to start with My Hero Academia. So, and like I said, and we'll reiterate this if and when we do these episodes, but we'll probably be doing the dubbed version, not the subbed version. So, for anybody getting ready to email us right now.
Actually, All Might says to Midoriya, like, okay, sure.
And then, yeah, we'll try to do probably My Hero Academia first, and then probably Black Clover next, or should we wait?
We could do Black Clover. It's just long.
Well, so is My Hero. I mean,
that's true. I like Black Clover. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like it as much as I like My Hero.
And I agree with that, but that's why I think those would be two good places to start. I'd either want to do Black Clover second or Full Metal Alchemist. So
we have to do Death Note at some point, because to me that's the anime I show people when they've never seen anime.
No, that's a good point. That's a great introduction anime, because it's not over the top or anything like.
Well, no, and there's no like fan service like staring at boobs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But so yeah, I mean that's just an idea we've been kicking around, and I think it's gonna happen, and we'd like to start doing that as soon as possible, as soon as we get our shit together. So
something we haven't really talked about this, but something I would kind of like to do too is like maybe take like a longer look at like a video game.
Just do like a single episode on one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Resident Evil 5 is probably a good one for us because we're both playing it at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, I would say the more content we can start kind of putting out, the better. I mean, I've never been like, if I listen to a podcast, I've never been like, ugh, 2 episodes in 1 week. Like,
yeah, nobody's ever like, this podcast just has too many episodes, dude. Can't handle it.
And we don't want to try and get like, because obviously the whole point of us starting this podcast was we kind of were trying to carve out a little bit of a niche, with the audiobook spin. Because we know there's plenty of book reviews, movie reviews, video game reviews. Video game reviews is done to death, and we know that. But so we wanted to really do something that we were both kind of passionate about, and the audiobooks was a great entry point for us. But but there's other things we are passionate about, and that I think those, while we don't want to take away from kind of what our main goal is, I think that these wouldn't be terrible spin-offs for us to kind of look at.
No, and I mean, like I like we I don't I know this is all like our 5 listeners, but like we've kind of carved ourselves out like a little bit as like like a little bit of reviewers, a little bit, and
Right.
I don't think
little
branching
tiny
out
bit.
is a bad thing to other things. And, I mean, you're right. Like video games are done to death, but I still think it would be interesting to like look at games that like are kind of older, like that we're actually playing right now. Because I mean, I don't really play a lot of new stuff, and I mean, like Dota's really the only game I really play that much.
No, and I don't think that's a bad idea at all. And I know you think the same way, and I just want people to know that we're not planning on turning the main meat of the content into this. I mean,
No.
our main, focus here is audiobooks. That's first and
Hang on.
foremost. Oh my gosh, Bo is
sorry.
so unprofessional right now.
I had to yell at my roommates.
Don't worry, my wife called me just a little bit ago too, and I had to hang up on her and text her and be like, podcast. So
I know I need a quick reply on my phone.
no kidding. That's a great idea. I should do that too. But yeah, like I said, in our schedules and stuff for Bo and I to record is not always the easiest thing. So, I mean, we might be able to do, maybe get up to 2 episodes a week if we're trying to do like an anime one as well as an audiobook. But then again, the hard part is we both want to re-listen to each book, even if we've already listened to it once.
Yeah.
We want to re-listen to it and finish it. So sometimes for me that's easy because I drive a lot. Sometimes for Bo it's easier because he's at work during the week while I'm at home, and I
Right.
rarely listen to anything while I'm at home. So, I mean, we want to finish it in its entirety, but so for us, this would be a good opportunity, though, for those weeks that I can't quite finish my audiobook. Maybe I could sit down and watch, 40 minutes or an hour of anime and take some notes on it while I'm doing it. So it would make for a good episode still.
It would. I think so. And I mean, we'll see. Because nobody gives us feedback, so we have no idea what you guys want.
That's right. So no matter now what you guys say, we're doing it anyways.
Yeah,
So
it's set in stone.
suck it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't like it, email us about it.
Please do. Just please do. If you're still here, just please do.
Please.
I'm begging now.
Well, I pretty much beg every week for hate mail, which I feel like is the easiest thing to get, and I can't even get that.
I was even just begging for somebody to like write us like, "What's up?" Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like,
Sadu.
"Sa, dude, yeah, dude, sa." Like that's
Oh,
it.
God.
That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And we still haven't got it. It's very upsetting.
So our email again is kotpl.pod@gmail.com. Whenever you want, we're here.
Yeah. We just want some interaction because I would like to see this evolve into like we talked about this a little bit kind of off air, but I would like to see this maybe at some point we could do some like live streams and do like, live chats with people and stuff. I mean, that's kind of the goal, is just to kind of have fun with it. And it's more fun when you get interaction and feedback with other people, So,
Yeah, I agree. You think we should wrap this one up?
I think so. I mean, we've
We're
probably-
over an hour.
Damn. Yeah, and we know we're not stupid. We know the short episodes do better. We watch.
I mean, that's not necessarily true.
But at the same time, I mean, sometimes I look at my podcasts and I'm like, okay, which one's short? Can I do this? Can I listen to this one? But
Yeah.
then sometimes I'm like, I got a 6-hour drive. Throw me the long ones. So,
Yeah, I mean, we have a good mix.
yeah, it's good.
So yeah. So what are we gonna
What
do
are we-
next time?
Ooh,
The Jester.
yeah, we're gonna do The Jester by James
We should
Patterson.
buckle up for a long one on that too.
Yeah, that one's gonna be, that one's gonna actually be probably pretty long because I have a lot to say about it.
Me too.
Couldn't tell you whether it's good or bad yet.
Yeah.
But-
Who knows?
By James Patterson and Andrew Gross. So,
Yeah. So yeah, so catch us in the next one for that,
Yeah,
and
and
we hope
thank
to
you
see you all
everybody for
there.
listening.
Yeah, thank you to everybody, and hang on, I want to talk about something for a second.
Okay.
Like, who I want to know who it is who is in freaking Mountain View, California, who's listening to so many episodes. Because you like whoever it is, it listens to the most. Like that's where we get the most listens, which is so strange to me.
It is weird because I don't know anybody in that area.
No, like what Mountain View, California? Yeah, like I don't get it. Like even like our hometown has way less. It's not even close.
Yeah, and those are the people we're telling to listen, like to face
Yeah.
at gunpoint. Better
Yeah,
listen to this
basically.
episode.
Yeah,
But
so thank you whoever you are, or if there's multiple of you, thank all of you. Like I look at the stats pretty often, and I mean it makes me happy to see that somebody is pretty obsessed with us.
that is awesome. And because we're trying to become a legitimate podcast, I'm going to say what I hear other podcasters say. So, the easiest way for anybody to help us out in this, number one would be to email us so we know we actually have real people listening. Number two would be to give us some like 5-star reviews and write a review on like SoundCloud and
Or iTunes.
iTunes. Yeah, give us a 5-star rating over there. Supposedly that'll help us become discovered faster, I guess. Um, I am doing my best to upload these to YouTube as well. So even if you just go over there, find us real quick, click on the video, hit subscribe, and give us a thumbs up on the video. That'll just kind of help spread the word. Um, and that's all we're asking. I mean, we're not we don't want any money. So
Yet.
the Trump's gonna give you that. So
Yeah, and then give it to us somehow.
yeah, and then if you want to send us your $1,000 check, I mean, we're not gonna say no. So we're not douchebags like that.
No, you can't refuse a gift like that. It's just rude.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's good. It's got everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think I'm good for sure, and I thank you everybody for listening, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one.